Hey guys, welcome, welcome. Yeah, so I am just gonna wait a few minutes and let everybody catch up, get the alerts that I'm here and I'm live. So if you don't know who I am Divine Transmissions on Instagram. My name is Natalie, and I do a lot of light language transmissions. I work as a galactic mediator, which means I help the galactic team. So whether it's archangels, whether it's throughout the angel realms, whether it's like just extraterrestrial beings. I help all the beings that are 5D understand what it's like here to do things as a human, if that makes any sense. So I work with them to better understand things so that they can do things to assist us. So I help the collective by helping the beings that help the collective. So I just play the middle person. Um, So, greetings. I see a couple of you are showing up. Welcome, welcome. So I wanted to come on today and talk a little bit about my very first encounter with the reptilians. So people have asked me lately, have you met the reptilians ever? And I was just saying, no, I've never met them. Like, I don't have firsthand experience with them. I've never met them. I've met the Dracos, but I have never met the reptilians until today. Today, so my husband wakes up at 3. He goes off and does his thing. And um, there I was. Hey. And there I was, like, just kind of in between asleep and awake. And I just got the impression that something was not right. Whenever I wake up in the morning, I always take my heart center and push it up and light up the grid. And when I did that, I couldn't light the grid. And I was like, uh oh, something's not right. So I called in my spiritual guardian that watches me while I sleep and asked her, she's a big silver dragon, asked her, like, hey, what happened? And she's like, I don't know, nothing happened. And I was like, not that you're aware of. Something did happen. You just don't know about it. So, how did this happen? When that happens, it's usually a frequency because my guardian didn't see anything. So, it means that there was a frequency that was being played that altered me to not being able to access the grid. So, I was like, okay, what happened? So, I, what was I doing? I feel like I then thought I should listen to music because different music has different codes in it, and different artists have different frequency that comes out of their mouth when they're singing. So they'll have me all of a sudden, I'll be thinking about a problem and trying to think of a solution, and then they'll play a song in my head, and I'll have to go to YouTube and look through the song list, and they'll tell me, "Oh, no, not that one, not that one. Great song, but wrong artist." And they'll just keep having me go through and then find the artist, and I'm like, "Okay, this person," and then as they're singing, the frequency that they have, creates the solution, brings forward the solution for me. Sometimes I'm energetically creating it, sometimes I'm light languaging it, but the key is in the song. It holds the clues, and then, I unlock it, I guess. So, I wasn't sure if I had to go listen to a song, so I was just sort of waiting to see what was gonna happen. And, my guide, who is in charge of the 2nd layer, realm, I guess, cosmos area, there's a part where angels, uh-oh, my internet looks like it's wonky. There we go. There's a part where the archangels, created, and then there's a layer on top of that, and that layer that is on top of that is what I refer to as the 2nd layer, and it is part of the ascension of Gaia. So that's why we're struggling right now, is because Gaia was here, it moves into here, and it's ascending farther into here, and this portion of this movement right here is moving into that 2nd layer. And it's also why we don't use Archangel Michael very much anymore, or Michaela, because we've kind of outlived their peace. Their peace was here, and to make sure we went to here. We did that. Now we're going from here to here, and we're getting the help of the 2nd layer beings coming in to help us. So that's been really cool to be able to see. Um, so I have a lady, her name is Althena. She comes in, she's the equivalent or the counterpart, I guess, to, um, the Ashtar commander, So he comes in, she comes in. Anyways, right now she's doing her piece with me. So she comes in and she's like, yeah, something's very wrong. You have to go and ask and call forward whoever is responsible for whatever is wrong. And I'm like, I don't even know what's wrong. And she's like, you have to go look. So I go and I'm looking around, I'm like, "I don't see anything." And she's like, "You have to exit Earth in order to be able to see what's wrong." I'm like, "Hmm, okay." So her and I fly way back, like Earth is here and we're like way out. And she's like, "See, this is what Earth is supposed to look like. This is what Earth looks like right now." And I was like, "Oh dear, that's not right." She's like, "Yeah." So what Earth is supposed to look like is this spinning, it's rapid spinning, and it's bright, shiny white. It's got energetic feel coming from it. And you're like, okay, good. That looks good. That's exactly what should be happening. The Earth, when I saw it, was not doing that. It was slowly spinning, slowly looked like it was going to fall or maybe falling. Like it was like not in the right orbited space. It should be clicked in here, and it was, like, droopy. It couldn't hold itself up, and I'm like, "Okay, that doesn't look right," and it wasn't lit. It was no white, shiny, bright energy coming from it. I was like, "Something's very wrong." And so my guide was like, "Yeah, absolutely." I'm like, "What's causing this?" And she's like, "Well, you have to call forward the being that's causing this." And I'm like, "Okay." So I'm like, "You know who the beings are?" And she's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Okay, so who are they?" And I'm like, "I feel like it's the reptilians." And she's like, "Yes, it is." So I'm like, "I don't really wanna go talk to them." And she's like, "That's because you have, a preconceived idea of what that race is about." And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "You shouldn't have that." I'm like, "Hmm, that's true." But I hear a lot about them, and, I wanna go in with my eyes wide open, I don't wanna be oblivious, and she's like, "You just need to go in and treat this like any other mediation that you do, without any biases or judgment." I was like, "Okay, fair enough." I'm like, "Is this gonna be hurtful or harmful?" And she's like, Why are you thinking that? That's part of your preconceived ideas." And I was like, "Okay." "Alright." She's like, "You're fine, just go ask them what's going on, like you do with all the other beings when there's a problem." I'm like, "Okay." And I kinda laugh because 'cause I'm like, I usually don't need pep talks about, like, going to do stuff. I usually am like, I know my job, I know how to do it, I'm pretty confident. I'm like, it just it's just part of, like, almost like an automatic response, like you would put your seatbelt on or brush your hair. It's just an automatic thing. You just know how to mediate. And so I approached where they were and I asked the leader to come forward, and the leader came forward, and he was, like, close, and I was like, some beings just that's natural, they just stand really close, and I remember being like, "Okay, you're kinda close." And then my second thought was like, "Yeah, wow, you really do look like a reptilian, like a reptile, like, snout, like, very snouty." I'm like, "Hmm, okay." I'm like, "Are you using some kind of thing to access Earth?" And they was like, "Yes, I am." And I'm like, "Why are you using something on Earth? Like, it's causing Earth to have negative impacts or be impacted negatively." And he's like, "Okay." I'm like, "What's the intention behind that?" He's like, "To eradicate that." And I'm like, "Okay, but I live there." And, that doesn't sound like a good thing, eradicating. And he's like, "Well, we don't like their light." And I'm like, "Okay, but just because you don't like the light, it doesn't mean it shouldn't shine. They still have a right to shine their light as brightly as they want to shine their light." He's like, "Oh, I don't like it." Um, and so we're having this conversation, and I was like, "Is there some kind of, like, solution we could come up with that's, like, better for everybody?" He's like, "No." And I was like, "Wow, I feel like I've met people like you before." And, like, I just remember having this, like, sense of hmm. You're you're one of those people that just irk you and you're just, like, arrogant, you know? And so, I was like, "Okay." And then I noticed that I was falling asleep while I was trying to come up with a solution, and I was annoyed because I knew he was making me fall asleep. Um, and so then every time I woke back up, I would have to, like, enter the conversation with him again because I had lost track of where I actually was in the conversation, where how far we had gotten to, and any solutions we had come up with. And so that repeated, like, probably 4 or 5 times where I would ask him what he's doing, he would say, "He's eradicating." I would say, "Why?" He's like, "'Cause I don't like your light." I fall asleep. Like, I was so mad. So finally, I woke up and I didn't go back into the scene. I woke up and I went to my guide and I was like, "He keeps making me fall asleep and he keeps lifting my memories. I don't even know where I am in the conversation because before I know it, I'm sleeping and have no recollection of what work took place." And I'm like, "I need to speak to one of the, like, reptilians that are in charge, but are good, because this guy is, like, not ready to do problem solving with me. He is not looking for a conflict resolution, like, I need a different guy, one that's nice. I know that there is polarity in all races, like, give me one that I can reason with, because this guy's just, I don't know, crusty and old and not giving an inch." So she was like, "You have the right to ask for that. You can ask for that." So I went back in and he was ready to speak to me again. And I was like, "I don't want to speak to you. I want to actually speak to the person that's in charge that is ready for solutions." And so then they pulled up another reptilian. And I was like, "Look, our planet is being negatively impacted by whatever it is that that thing is doing to it. That thing cannot be continued to be used on our planet because, like, there's a lot of people that live there." Um, and he was like, "Understood." He was almost like a reptilian, but an ascended master. I remember feeling like, "Wow, this feels like it feels when I speak to an ascended master. This is great, such a polar difference." He's like, I understand." So I said, like, "What can be done about this?" Um and he said, "Well, what do you need?" And I said, "Well, I need the light to still stay shining. We have the right to be able to shine our light. You can't steal light from us. You can't do things to make us not have a light anymore. That is against our free will. Like, we have the right to be able to shine as brightly as we want." And he was saying, like, he agrees, and I was able to set some commands. So what that means is when I set commands, I'm trying to think what it's like. It's it starts with a lot of "I will," or "You will," or "This can." So, every time this happens, this is what takes place. Every time you do this, this will happen next. Every time that happens and it doesn't go according to plan, this will be happening after that. So, it's like all if this, then this, and if that, then those, and then those, if that doesn't go right, then this. And so I put, like, all these layers in place of what I would call commands, and basically, it was like, if you continue to keep using that, eh, we're turning all of that energy into love and light. So you can continue to keep using it. I can't tell you to stop, but um, if you continue to keep negatively impacting us, the only thing that you're really able to do is give us more love. So the more you hate us, and our light, the more we transfer and transmute it into love. And so I just kept respinning it all and putting those commands in. And then I fell asleep. And then usually I will fall asleep once the task is done. Then I'll be like, they only kinda keep me at that altitude or frequency level until things are resolved, and then I'll, like, just fall asleep. So yeah, it was quite interesting to have, um, my first reptilian encounter, and it wasn't as bad as I thought, um, or as bad as I've even heard, encounters go. I had my Draco experience, and that went okay as well. It was a positive being from that race, and he came forward to tell me that, there has been some tampering that had gone on, and so he was just alerting me that there were tampering had taken place and who was implicated in it, and, to go and look for the contract that was created by those beings that, created it or whatever. So, I did that, but again, he was a nice one, and I remember, like, looking at him and being like, "Wow, you're much more green than I would have thought you would be." Huh. It's like Ninja Turtle almost, like a strange looking Ninja Turtle kinda green. So yeah, I was quite surprised. So I'm also opening up 2 different nights of the week where we can come and be together. So Saturday night is a channeling night where I'm teaching people how to channel. It's going to also have a component where it's a course where you can go in and do the course on your own time. and it's a community where you can come in and you can, like, speak and connect with each other. So, hey, guys. So the channeling will be from 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Saturday. And then on the Tuesday nights, a totally different membership, and it is about, you know, we do a little bit of how to do shadow work. Last Tuesday, we did a cool adventure. It was an adventure where we dropped into Egypt and we toured some of the insides of the pyramids, and people there was 3 other individuals with me, and we were able to go through all the tunnels, and we were able to find things that they had left for themselves in the tunnels. Or I guess it was, like, in the pyramid, but it was a big room that opened up. Then we went to go check out Stonehenge and the dragons and went to visit the 2nd layer. Like, we did a whole tour around of everything. So that one's more of a, like, hands-on um, like activations, a little bit of shadow work and trauma, like energy lifting kind of stuff, energy updates as well. So that's on the Tuesday, and on the Saturday is the channeling. You can do both if you want to. Initially, my guides had said, like, no, 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 don't let people do both. And then this morning, I was like, guys, why can people not do both? If they feel like it resonates with them, they should be able to do both. No, and they're like, "Yes," but remember they're 2 different memberships, so they have to pay $90 to do both nights or $45 to do one or the other. I was like, "Okay, that's fair. That's fair. They're getting double the time, so that makes sense." Um, so you're gonna start seeing that be promoted a little bit more. The free course where it goes into the cleansing strategies and how to know if you have an archon or how to remove it or like what to do. In the free course, there's a paid component that has the light language and the frequencies in it. That's really cool as well. I'm really excited about the channeling because I've been seeing different beings, and I notice when I see them, I actually speak the language that they are, and so the different language comes out differently. So that's always, like, exciting to see and, uh, to talk through to right now too, my light language has been coming in as light language and then flipping to English. So that's been kind of neat. I think it was my last Instagram post. I was doing quite a bit of that channeling, having a little bit of that. Um, it was called Love Message because they were talking about how much they love us and appreciate the work we're doing. Um, so yeah, those were the big encounters I've had so far. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Right now, we're really being impacted by Gaia's energy fields. So it's important to every day, like, connect our heart center to the grid because that helps keeps her energy field up and functioning. The more we can keep it up and functioning, the better and easier it is for people to connect. So the more we connect, the easier it is, and the more people can see it and the more people can connect to it and then the easier it is. So we're all like helping each other by connecting to this grid, right? So that's like a big helpful thing that we can all do. Keep assigning the angels, assigning them through love, telling things that you love them. We'll assign those angels of love to help watch over and just be part of the journey with us. Do you guys have questions? It's great to see you guys. Yay. Yeah, the adventures are always fun. I've had an adventure recently where this one's actually kind of interesting one. Um, just had a my car detailed, and I went to their house, and the car detailer broke, my seat on the car, and the latch, I guess, the latch system, it no longer lifted the seat, wasn't connected anymore. So I took it in to the dealership. The dealership was like, "Yeah, somebody like really forcefully pushed the seat down and bent the seat frame, and that's why it's not connecting anymore." I was like, "Oh, well, that wasn't us. It was the car detailer." So I went back to the detailer, and the detailer was like, "Yeah, and?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I need my money back because I had to go pay to have it fixed." And he was like, "Don't buy a stupid car then, I guess." My car's a brand new, Volkswagen. So it's not like an old, hurting, stupid car. He wouldn't give us our money back. So finally, I was like, wait, 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 wait. This is like way too hard. This should really not be this hard. Like, my life is not this hard. I don't have these kind of conflicts. Like, what, why in the world am I having this conflict with this car detailer guy? Um, so I sat with it and I like asked my guides, like, what's the plan here? Because this feels not good. What the heck is going on? And they were like, "Oh, yeah, we sent you over to his house because he actually has a portal in his house, and the portal that he has in his house is owned by the dark, and it actually needs to be owned by the light. So we sent you there to take ownership of the portal again." And I was like, "You guys are funny. Like, couldn't you just have me, bump into him at Walmart or something? That would have been easier." And they're like, "No, he had to, like, interact with you on a much deeper level and, like, be all over your property, and you'd be all over his property." And I'm like, "Okay, weird." But they're like, "No, it's good." Like, the portal was actually part of the ley lines, and we really just needed access to that back. And I was like, "Okay, so we have access to it back now?" They're like, "Yeah," because I was light languaging, and I'm like, "I'm working on something," and I'm like, "I see it glowing." Then I heard it. I'm like, "Is this a giant white portal?" And I was, like, cleaning it out and stuff, and I'm like, "Huh, interesting." Then I realized it was actually in his house, and I was like, "Okay." And then I got the explanation from my guide. So, yes, it's a dark portal. They're not using it right. It needed to come back. Beings actually want to use that and can't, and now they can. Thank you very much. And I was like, "Okay, so now what's the plan?" They're like, "You have to report his business because he doesn't have the proper documents. He doesn't have the proper licensing, doesn't have insurance." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I did that today, and while I was looking through some of his reviews, I saw that somebody had left the guy's first name. So I went into Google and I searched his full name, and lo and behold, his all these news articles start popping up about, his, like, record where he's non-compliant in, holding weapons, and, SWAT team had to come out because he was, in a standoff. And it's, like, in 2 different provinces, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is the guy that we left our car." Like, it's not a cheap car. We left our car with, it's brand new, oh my gosh, like, we've had it 5 months. So, I'm like, "This is crazy." Like, "Guides, you orchestrated this." They're like, "Yeah, we did." I'm like, "You didn't tell me." They're like, "If we told you we're gonna send you to a criminal's house, then you're gonna leave your car there, you wouldn't have gone." I'm like, "Damn straight I wouldn't have gone." They're like, "Well, so see?" I'm like, "Uh-huh. So what's the plan now?" And they're like, "Don't worry about it. We just needed you to go in there, report his business so he'll stop doing the secondary businesses that he has." I was like, "Secondary businesses? What?" They're like, "Yeah, he has these other businesses that he also does, but I think you're gonna scare him enough now that he might stop those. We need him to stop those." I'm like, "You huh? This is hilarious." This is like what the life is like, right? So you're like, "Okay, interesting. So what's next?" And they're like, "That's really it. That's all we needed, to get the portal back and to stop him from, continuing with the other businesses he has." I was like, "Okay, so mission's complete." They're like, "Mission's complete." Okay. He only broke my car in the process. And they're like, "Well, if he didn't break your car, you would have had a good experience and you wouldn't have reported anything." I was like, This is fair point." So yeah, that's how it goes. We just kinda laugh about it now, I guess, but, um, yeah, he's just a dark thing, and when I went to his Facebook page, I could see his, like, title on his Facebook page was "Quantum Shifter and Conspiracy Theory Investigator," and I was like, the my town is not very big, so to have individuals that do quantum work in any kind or even know about quantum seems, like, extremely rare. So it felt like alignment where they're like, "Okay, here, Natalie, you see this is actually a guy that is not of integrity, and this is, you know, he is involved in the 5D, and you do need to stop him. So once I had found that, and I just was total luck that I was looking through the reviews and I found somebody left his first name in the review, and I was like, "Huh, I wonder if this business part, right here is actually the last name, and whenever I put them together in Google, I wonder what will come up." And then that's when I was like, "Bam!" Guided. So, yeah, never a dull moment. So it was good. Oh, yeah, you sign a protection around you. Mhm. So always ask your protectors, especially as Gaia shifts, if they are coming with you or if they like need something else. Because as we shift, we also need to bring our protective layers up with us. So I had to get an additional like I had to go in and ask because every time I would wake up, I'm like, why am I disconnected? Something happened while was sleeping. And finally, I was just asked my being that's in charge, like, do you need some kind of like break? Or would you rather like have a different job that you were assigned to? And you can always tell because they're like, if they are not ready for a new job, they're like, no, I'm good. There's no problem. Everything's fine. If they're ready for a new job, they're like, well, there's some hesitation there. And you're like, you don't hurt my feelings if you want a new job. Like I can assign you to something else. And they're like, "Well, I don't really let me think about it." I'm like, "You're assigned to something else. We don't need any thinking about it." Um, it's like any workplace. When you're doing a job, sometimes you just don't know when it's time to leave, or you don't wanna leave the team, and, like, we're all team players, and we all have a role. So, the protectors and light beings are the same way. They won't wanna leave you high and dry and stranded, and they like being part of the team, so sometimes you just have to say, like, "Mm-mm, this isn't really working for me, like, I need somebody else." Sometimes you just need somebody that has a little bit more oomph as well. So when I relieved my last one for sleep protection, I asked for another one to come forward, or I just asked who would like that role or I'm looking for that, and a big, huge silver white dragon came forward. She looks like totally just perfect for the job. I just knew it right away. I was like, "Yes." Then I always ask them if they know what they're getting into, if there's something that they're gonna do to alert me when they're, like, not able to do the position anymore, and they just, say yes, and then they accept the position. So she's been doing amazing. She's awesome at it. But yeah, you just have to check in with them and ask them, like, "Are you done? Do you need help? Do you want me to recruit somebody else to help you? Like, what do you need?" And if they're like, then you're like, "You're done." Um, yeah. But sometimes they just work really hard, so it's just hard. Um, face the fears through dreams, yeah. I could see that. Sometimes you have to face fears through dreams. Um, I'm trying to see if that's sometimes it's part of processing. Um, I didn't always hear my guides and always hear, like, things. Um it's hard to know if it's you or if it's actually them. So that is something that you have to kind of mm, get used to as well. And sometimes there's distortion. So you're like, that sounds like you, but that's not the right attitude for you. So stop, hold on. Let me call in some other guides, shine a whole lot of light, and then that one that was talking vanishes, and you're like, that wasn't a real one. It didn't sound or feel like it had the right attitude. So then you have to then go investigate what was that about? Why was there a false light one that was there? Why are they coming in? How did they get in? And how do you protect his shield? Right now, they're all coming in through Gaia's energy field because it's not mm, lit. The reptilian was doing something to it, right? So it's just it's always an investigative game in terms of what's going on, what's happening, why is it happening. Um, for me, I'm a guardian of Gaia, so I always, when something's happening to her energy field, I feel it through my body and it feels like I'm being attacked. But then I had to realize it's not me getting attacked, it's Gaia getting attacked, and then I have to go see what's going on, why that's happening to her, and then make adjustments from there. So, yeah, it's just part of life. Um, but yeah, you can process things through your dreams, having different experiences through your dreams. I used to have a fear of flying really high. It was really bizarre dreams where they would, like, make me practice. It's like I would breathe, and as I would breathe, I would, like, float, and then I would get scared that I was floating, and I'd be like, "Stop, stop, stop, stop. I don't wanna go too high." And so then they one day came in and they gave me, like, some kind of device, and it looked like a rock that I had to, like, look at and focus on, and then after that, I was able to, like, just do my thing and float and fly wherever. It wasn't a problem. But, yeah, it's just part of practicing. Hopefully, they don't get too scary. Alright, guys, I'm gonna leave the link to do the channeling course and the, what is that? Channeling membership. Saturday night. There we go. And that'll give you the channeling. It's for an hour and a half. I think I said that. Starts this Saturday. And the other one is the free course. So natalienate.com/free course. Again, that free course has a paid part. This depends where you are at and how deep you want to go and things. So yeah. Anyways, it was great to see you all, and I'll keep you posted with these updates of like what other beings I'm meeting and where we're going and what we're looking for. And we'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye.